COVID hospitalizations among children have spiked as well this month and are now at the highest level they've been the entire pandemic. Masking is not 100% effective, and it alone is not going to eradicate COVID-19. But universal masking is the layer of defense that the American Academy of Pediatrics is recommending to help protect our children and keep them in school in person, which I think is all of our goals. Recently, I've heard a lot of people in town say that it's my child, my choice, or if I'm concerned, I should just mask my own child. And while I believe that every parent in this room, every parent in this district wants what's best for their child, as the parent of a child with underlying medical conditions, these words, these comments are extremely troubling to me. This week, I reached out to my pediatrician, my doctor's pulmonologist, the director of the Respiratory Center at Gloria Children's, and several other medical professionals and local pediatric practices. All of them said the same thing. All of them are aligned with the American Academy of Pediatrics' recommendation for universal masking in the classroom. In conjunction with hand washing and social distancing, it is the #1 way to beat the Delta variant. When I probed, based on the comments from people in this town, and asked, well, what if my daughter wears a mask and other children in her classroom do not? Will she still be protected? The unilateral answer from every medical expert, every doctor I spoke to was no. Mask wearers protect those who are around them. As I just said, the mask wearer protects those who are around them, but the wearer is not protected to the same degree. Cloth masks play a much bigger role in preventing projectiles and germs from getting out than they do from preventing germs from coming in. It is for this reason that while the Delta variant is running rampant, while the transmission rate in New Jersey and Morris County is high, while children's COVID cases are on the rise, that it is not time for us to be rebuking mask mandates. We need to learn from the mistakes of other states that have made masks optional in their schools. It is time for us to mask up and protect our children. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. So, if I may,
Yeah.
it's important to note that our letter to the governor expresses a position on local rule, not on masking one way or another. Governor Murphy has issued a one-size-fits-all mandate with statewide effect. He has not, to our knowledge, been to Hanover, visited our schools, or obtained specific knowledge of our operations and community. We believe that we're better situated to make these judgments, informed, of course, by guidance from public health officials. Okay, so from the beginning of the pandemic, this board has indicated its preference that school operations return to normal as soon as possible. We adhered to the governor's order last year. When it was loosened, late in the spring in the school year, we in turn loosened restrictions. And over the summer, when there was no directive from the governor or from public health officials to the contrary, we did not require that masks be worn in schools. The reality, however, is that the situation is not normal. The governor's mandate, whether we agree with it or not, applies to our schools, and we're legally obligated to follow it. We've asked them to revoke it and leave the matter in our hands, but unsurprisingly, no repeal is in sight. So on masking, we're more or less where we were last fall going into the new school year, although, as Mr. Wasco indicated in his most recent communication, there has been significant favorable progress in various other respects of normalizing our schools. So I think that's an important distinction, is that we're just saying that it should be a local decision, not the governor's decision, because the schools here are very different from the schools in, say, a big urban area or a much newer school buildings with much more space between students. That's the position.
If I'm wrong, the letter stated that you feel that it should be the parent's choice, that the parent has the best understanding of how their own child works and learns, correct?
Subject to public health officials.
So if my doctor and about 10 to 15 other doctors that I spoke to yesterday said that my kindergartner, if she sits in a class and she has medical conditions that will potentially put her more vulnerable, and potentially risk her being hospitalized if she does come down with COVID. If they're telling me that her masking is not enough and what she needs and what other children who are vulnerable need is for all of the kids in the class to be masked, why should that be the discretion of the kid who's sitting at the desk, of the parents of the kid sitting at the desk next to her?
Just to be clear, Our focus is on normalizing our schools to the extent that we can. Right now, they're not normal, and while we don't know exactly what the direction from county and local public health officials would be, we don't have any discretion right now. So at the moment, the mask mandate is in effect. If and when the governor repeals that mandate, that decision would be made in conjunction with public health officials, as has been the case throughout the process. Thanks for your comments.